Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's finals here for the $300 minimum 3v3 search and destroy, of course, taking place here on January 17th. It is a best of three going on between Lethal Gaming and WestR as we're hopping on board here with map number 1-4. Some London docks. Kicking things off with BigBobbyJinx. Of course, for the side of WestR, finds one, but quickly gets picked off there. The nice shots coming in from Ramby, trying to find the third one onto Blastful. However, not successful, as it will be MuTeX and Blastful now left in a 1 versus 1. Blastful sitting around those boxes. Also has the bar in his back pocket. Definitely the preferred weapons of choice at this current state, but MuTeX does catch the side of Blastful. Can he find the kill was the thing? Nope, not going to happen. Blastful 2, though. Also has the weapon in his back pocket. Another challenge engaged. And we'll see who can get the sniper duel forward, but looks like guns are back at him. MuTeX will win this one as a big 1 versus 1 goes the way of Lethal Gaming, as it was a mixture between bars and PPSHs versus one another. Speaking of such, the cars as well, the sniper rifles. We're out for some dueling, but in the end, it was obviously Lethal Gaming who wins this round number 1. And kind of speaking on how both these teams have got to this point, I know we were able to kind of hop on board with Lethal Gaming in their semifinal matchup. We just watched them win rather. Their semifinal match versus Ice Season. They won that one in a hot 2-0. Both matches were fairly close. Fearless was having a very, very good series, but in the end, the strategy worked out in their favor. Played very well. And for the guys on WestR, we actually got to watch them, I believe, in a few matches earlier. I think one had been their quarterfinal matchup. They obviously advanced in that one to this point. And I believe in taking down the guys on PT, I think it was, in their semifinal matchup too. So some pretty stiff competition when it came down to the latter parts of tonight's 3v3 search and destroy. But regardless, back-to-back rounds, being in 1v1s last time, it was Blastful versus MuTeX. This time, it's BigBobbyJinx versus Ramby. And as the search and destroy titans begin to duel, who will get the advantage now? As it looks like it will be in back-to-back rounds, like I said, 1v1 engagements. But this time, going the way of BigBobbyJinx and co from the side of WestR. As Ramby definitely kind of getting caught off guard. Solid positioning coming in for BigBobbyJinx as well. Realize the kind of placement on the map where Ramby was kind of lingering. Now as they play the situation out, very strong. One thing I want to kind of point out when it comes to London docks is, do we see the presence toward the A site? It looks like MuTeX could be the defining factor of whether that decision comes to pass or not. TTinyy has to watch his head, quite literally. Sniper bullets could be similar to golf balls, yelling for. As it looks like Blastful just gets MuTeX beamed in the head. And off of that, also rushes into this site. This is going to be kind of odd positioning, and you see that. Double PO8s rocking the duelist. We actually saw Clayster do this at NOLA, maybe Blastful taking a page out of Clay's book. And you also notice he kind of, I was going to say, that's kind of an up-close and personal fight. There's no way that player didn't end up getting spotted, but of course, solid position coming in here from TTinyy. But we see the dual PO8s, the akimbo PO8s at that. And when it comes to the combat training, you have to sacrifice something for those PO8s. You obviously rock the duelist combat training. So you're not rocking Hunker, you're not rocking anything like inconspicuous, whatever it may be. So it was kind of a risky kind of call there, but it also could work out a lot of the time for the guys with the sniper rifles. And I was actually curious at this tournament. Glacier was kind of using, I believe, on Sainte-Marie hardpoint, and they ended up winning that one, having a lot of success with it. At the beginning of this round, MuTeX finding the headshot on TTinyy as both Blastful and MuTeX begin to continue on with their first picks. 1 friend for MuTeX, 2 for Blastful. But I was curious, as that tournament kind of progressed, as players are obviously going to realize that strategy is now a thing. And I honestly thought that it might be good for sniper rifle players because, granted, you do have scope, you have a few options you can use, inconspicuous, whatever it may be. As at least on TTiny's class, he's actually using, inconspicuous, or not TTinyy, MuTeX, using energetic actually. So trying to speed around the map, maybe trying to find a vantage point for that first blood, but pistols up close. I like the strat from Blazt, but being tagged up from the side, probably a nade or so. Make it a little bit weak. Challenge from the side, and obviously picks up the pistols, but doesn't have any ammo, has no position to try and challenge. And so in back-to-back situations, actually in round number 2, BigBobbyJinx in this exact position shut down Ramby. However, the other two teammates left in his line sight, spots him on the bomb. Play number 3 coming from the corner. Can he get the kill in time? And yes, MuTeX will be there for the pickup along with the defuse. Is not getting towards streaks just yet, but a solid factor coming in here for the guys on Lethal as they now even things up at 2-2. As I'm very, very excited to see how the rest of this series does progress. I think these are the 2 best teams kind of coming in tonight's tournament that I was looking at and saying, it wouldn't surprise me if we see both these squads in the finals for tonight. In my opinion, not even just based off of obviously making it to the finals, but definitely the 2 strongest S&D teams through and through, I think it's fair to say. So very happy to see both these squads here tonight. But off the break, Ramby firing some shots into fire on the opposite side. TTinyy trying to clear out this B-bomb site with the PPSH. Clearly seeing at 1 and 4, and gets the nice melee along with the shot before, making it look like he's playing some zombies right now. A few shots to the head and the melee at the end. And Ramby has to be very careful challenging Blazt for this position. Gets the nade and tries to go for the pickup after. At the same time, TTinyy kind of fading back. And what you're noticing here from TTinyy and Ramby playing this very well. Kind of a bait and switch situation. Ramby coming from above, takes out Blastful, and that is just a very well-played round coming in there from Lethal Gaming. As you see 2 players kind of lingering in different positions, it's Ramby coming through middle, it's obviously the other player kind of hanging through that backside street, and all they're doing is just tagging up Blazt, making him kind of shoot that sniper bullet, making him run out of ammo, kind of rely on those pistols. And they also, as soon as that kill comes in, they probably now know that Duelist is being brought out from Blastful, so they could be more aware of the up-close and personal fights with Blazt. Maybe try to keep him at bay. That's the quick scoop from Blazt. That one was nearly good, but shots expiring back and forth. As it looks like a TTinyy finding the first one onto Teddy. MuTeX not finding the kill. Also gets stunned, and here come the streaks. Only knowledge, only information gained potentially. No kills though. Ramby drops BigBobbyJinx, and that's the infantry class, of course, coming out to play the rush into fire. As he's going to have to pull out something hot, to say the least. Ramby tossing out that nade, and I like the positioning from TTinyy. Easily hopping out, but 2 found. But one more player coming from above. Too many players alive. A solid effort there from Ramby. But it's Blastful. The PO8s from the sky. And it will be the guys from WestR chalking up yet again another round as back and forth we go. Now leveling up at 3-3. We talk about first bloods. 5 first bloods found for WestR. Only 1 found from the guys on Lethal Gaming, and it's really been in past. MuTeX and Ramby being a major part of those first kills, those first bloods. Never not the case this time. However, speaking of that, it's this time MuTeX who does find the first blood. And just after that, you got to be keeping in mind, BigBobbyJinx just around the corner has earned the fighter pilot. However, not going to be used when it comes out of this round. Now left up to Blastful in a 1 versus 2 situation, needing to try and clutch, but misses the sniper shot, and he'll obviously pay big for it. As Ramby, lingering through mid-map, continues to be a nuisance for Blastful. As they've had a few duels so far throughout this map rather. And Ramby's came out the majority of the time. And I'm curious to see with this streak from BigBobbyJinx when they try to use this one. And honestly, if you're on offense, B-bomb side is the obviously preferred of the 2 if you want to use a streak. It's because it's a lot more open. However, TTinyy ends up dropping. This could definitely halt the streak usage from BigBobbyJinx and co. And it definitely makes things a little bit more awkward for them because, of course, they're trying to save those streaks for as long as possible. Blastful, though, getting tagged up and hasn't had an opportunity to use those pistols yet. Ends up getting dropped from a very quick point of view. MuTeX there for 1, and just like that, final player ends up dropping 5 rounds here, earned for the guys on Lethal. As TTinyy here for the final kill, as we kind of talked about after kind of coming into that 7th round, how things were even. However, not the case anymore. At 5 rounds, now are the guys on Lethal Gaming. They've won back-to-back ones. See what they can do. BigBobbyJinx, though, still with that fighter pilot. It can play huge, and let's actually take a look and see. Looks like Mountain for MuTeX, TTinyy rocking airborne, and Ramby with infantry. So 2 players, if that streak comes into play, he's going to be able to spawn out 2 of them. We'll see how much damage he can do. Both players currently inside, getting some hit markers onto Teddy. Can he find the kill, though? So while he doesn't find any kills necessarily, he does learn information and knows where at least a general location of where one player was at. TTinyy will play or pay for it. Sniper shot out from MuTeX makes it now a 1 versus 1. Goes for the pre-snipe onto TTinyy. And right now in TTinyyy's position, trying to keep WestR in it. Trying to at least force a round number 10. PPSH in his back pocket. Doesn't have to worry about that objective. He's on defense. MuTeX, though, have to be very careful of it. And on the flank right now is TTinyy. Can he get the timing? But no, just happens to run past him. Does MuTeX hear him? Do they realize where each other are at? Both players have Mountain. TTinyy gets the advantage, and just like that, he will pick up the big kill there in a 1-on-1 to force the round number 10. How much longer can these guys stay in it? As the streak comes useful, it wasn't a waste. With your back against the wall, it's obviously not odd to see them obviously rock that streak, but definitely came in useful. Like I said, we see 2 players not rocking Mountain, Airborne, and Infantry both being rocked. And they do pay for it. However, knowing that streaks are no longer a factor, they don't have to worry about putting on those Mountain classes. And it looks like play number 2. Very up close and personal. You see TTinyy also toss out that stun off the break. Doesn't see anyone inside a barrel building, so thinks that this side is clear. Just like that, 2 end up dropping, and this is a very, very quick round to close things out here. As it's MuTeX who gets the work done at the end. Him and TTinyy combining for 1 on TTinyy. I guess it was Ramby who found 2 kills with the bar onto this bomb site as well. As we just started to think that, hey, WestR might have something that could maybe force the round 11. It's Lethal who were there for the quick slap on the wrist, and that's not even a possibility. So a strong performance coming out of the guys from Lethal as back-to-back. I know we've been seeing kind of a few teams have guys who have had strong performances, but MuTeX and Ramby both finishing off with 10 kills apiece in total. Finish off 20 and 11 combined. And if you have 2 players who are doing that, it's a very unlikely time that you see them obviously drop the map. So major props to them. We do see round number 10 be kind of brought out. But generally, this was a very kind of hard-fought battle throughout a lot of this game. I think generally, though, we were seeing, and honestly in the prior series for Lethal Gaming as well, we've been just seeing them have great execution when it comes down to clutching moments. And of course, when you're in 3 versus 3 engagements, and we kind of, I know I've been talking about throughout the entire tournament tonight, is the difference between 4v4 and 3v3 is the fact of it's almost like in 3v3 tournaments, players and teams are kind of playing as if they're in a 4v4, but they're just a man down. So that kind of relates to not checking a certain position or not watching your flank or whatever it may be. So I think for a lot of times that we watch Lethal Gaming, they're just very good when it comes down to a 2 versus 2 or kind of baiting and switching, whatever it may be. Like we noticed in that one scenario, that one round, where Blazt was lingering through mid with that sniper rifle. I mean, generally, I was talking about, okay, Ramby's got to be really careful. He doesn't need to challenge this one through middle because, you know, any moment Blazt can just kind of peek up and take him out. But they play the time well. They obviously kind of got a few shots on the side. One player would kind of tag up, kind of get behind cover. The other would then obviously gain position, tag him up, get behind cover. And in the end, they obviously kind of make him back up, waste all of his sniper bullets, and then he gets picked off. So I think there was a few moments for Lethal Gaming where they are having some good execution. Like I said, on London Docks, especially in a 3 versus 3 tournament, we already talked about in 4v4s. I mean, how fast this map goes. Like we obviously talk about whether it's hardpoint, whether it's search and destroy, whether it's CTF. It doesn't matter. All these games go by so quickly, man. And obviously in 3v3 search and destroy tournaments, they go even faster than normal. So with that in mind, teams have to be kind of on their A game. They have to be aware of the callouts, have to be aware of a lot of different things. Communication has to be, at its top tier. And obviously for the guys in Lethal Gaming, they were able to kind of call out things well. So we kind of discussed them in the clutch a lot of the time. Obviously works out for them in the end as they are now up 1-0 and are now only 1 map away from closing out tonight's final. Question being, though, how does WestR respond when it comes into Arden Forest? Of course, this is a different map. I want to see how the tacticals are used, the smokes, etc. How are those going to be kind of implemented on this map when it comes down to the offensive execution? That's going to be a major question for me. And I think that's the way that we can potentially see WestR get back in this game is based off of their offense execution and how they can kind of get their way toward that B-bomb site, because they're going to have to be aware of that sniper rifle coming out from MuTeX a lot of the time. But if we know anything about Arden Forest, it can kind of play consistent. And if you know how to play the lanes correctly, you can have a lot of success in this map. We've seen a lot of even pro teams like Team Caliber, be very solid at this map just because they know how to hold the lanes. They obviously, kind of have players separated throughout a lot of the map, but generally it's a matter of, and I know I'm not like trying to obviously bring out strategies, but Chino likes to linger on A. Accuracy lingers through middle. Kenny holds a very close angle on B. Like, that's all they do, and it's just a matter of holding the angles correctly, having good teamwork, making successful rotations, and I know the name of the game, of course, post-NOLA, as everyone is saying, is just the teamwork from Team Caliber is just incredible. And if you kind of implement those strategies and kind of realize that what they're doing, it's nothing that's like crazy. I mean, it's nothing that's like unorthodox. It's just a matter of them having kind of confidence and their teammates kind of having confidence in one another and playing their lane the way that they know how to play it. So I think when it comes down to Arden Forest, generally the defensive team, of course, in usual search and destroy maps, has the advantage, but you can kind of make the offensive team have the advantage. If you toss out that smoke through middle, you kind of are able to enter into you. Maybe you throw two toward that backside tank to also enter in through cabin as well. You can have a pretty big advantage, but it looks like off the break here, only stuns and nades as far as the technicals and lethal usage here from the guys on WestR as they're trying to get back in the series. And an early round victory would be nice for it. As Blastful looking here toward the opposite side. We'll see if we can find a pick as Ramby does find one with the actually FG42. So Ramby rocking that gun out here. Not unorthodox to see when it comes to Arden Forest whatsoever. And TTinyy is on the hunt. Nearly could have spotted out MuTeX, but it might have spotted them heading in toward bunker. Most likely calling that one out to his teammate. Blastful being aware of such. Potentially, yeah, does take out MuTeX. So just like that, it's TTinyy now. 1 versus 2. And I like this play from TTinyy. No need to engage on that player. You know Blastful. You know he probably has a sniper rifle. Him and TTinyy are both still alive. They may not have known the position of TTinyy unless he fired his bullet in back bunker. So TTinyy is really just kind of trying to play around the factor of timing, catching one off guard maybe while plant is going down. Maybe after the plant goes down, trying to catch them both in 1v1 engagements. This is where TTinyy thrives. Is in a clutch, up close and personal fight, and just like that, we talk about how insane the duelist PO8s are, man. Let's look at this from Blastful. Yeah, that's pretty deadly, to say the least. That is a very deadly secondary to be rocking. As it wouldn't surprise me at all if we start to see this kind of become a normal strategy from a lot of sniper players. It's kind of relying on those secondaries to really do a lot of the work. So with that, a successful offensive round coming in from the guys on WestR. We'll see how Lethal Gaming can now kind of try to fare off, as it looks like point number 7, TTinyy getting up close, taking out Blastful, definitely catching him off guard. And him and MuTeX coming around the corner. Looks like TTinyy doesn't know exactly where player number 5 is, or player number 1 is, rather. BigBobbyJinx ends up getting shut down. And so TTinyy, realizing that this part of the map is open, now has to try and fill the gap for his fallen comrades. Trying to stay alive on the tank. Coming around the corner, though. MuTeX from one side, and it looks like it could be Ramby at any moment from the other. And Ramby's not engaging. Is he on streaks or something? No, just watching that backside. But it looks like TTinyy finds one. Nearly finding the second. Can the timing work out in his way, but not going to happen. As successful offensive rounds taking place for either team. And I was curious in that situation why MuTeX wasn't having any support. Why wasn't Ramby really helping him out with the objective? But it looks like, or the objective being, of course, to kill the final player, but kind of hangs in the back lines. I know what he was kind of doing was just watching the exit, essentially, waiting for the exit of TTinyy to be made, but still, a little bit too close for comfort. Regardless, TTinyy doesn't get the clutch forward. And despite the bomb going through mid-street, it looks like it's Blastful and TTinyy who are going to try to make a little bit of a cut here. And MuTeX does his job. Shuts down TTinyy on the flank. A big kill found, but however, though, look at this. Blastful is going to call out MuTeX, and BigBobbyJinx gets the late call out. He doesn't realize he's there. That is such a big error that kind of comes in from the guys on WestR. Because Blastful's definitely calling out, hey, he's through mid-bridge. But the reaction time isn't fast enough. Hopefully they're not using like Skype or something. There's a little bit of a delay. Not gonna lie, there's a little bit of delay. Personally, a TeamSpeak user myself. Shout out to Discord too. Who knows? Blastful. PO8s. They can do some damage, man. Able to take out one on the TTinyy. 2 more players, though, left to face off against. Just toward his right. Where are the FG shots coming from? Keeping in mind that bomb not in Blastful's possession. He realized that he has to get toward this or at least face off these players in combat. Blastful from a long range. Can he get the kills done? But no, not going to happen. Gets 2 out of the 3 kills. And the PO8s do some damage here onto MuTeX, but in the end, it is Lethal Gaming who will escape with this round victory. And a solid one at that, as the guys from WestR trying to chip away at this series, trying to get themselves back into this and trying to force them at number 3. Of course, if you're just joining us, this is the finals here for the $300 minimum 3v3 Search and Destroy. Of course, taking place here on January 17th. We appreciate you guys for joining us. As we're in map 2 of this best of 3. It's Lethal Gaming, who are currently in possession of the lead in total, as they won London Docks 6 rounds to 4. Now looking here at Arden Forest, it's Blastful coming in with a nice little God nade. Tells MuTeX to catch. Unfortunately, he doesn't. Probably better that he doesn't catch it. That'd be kind of unfortunate. But as the snow, or as the face meets the snow, we now enter into round number 5 at even. And right now, at least as far as first bloods are considered, 3-1 advantage for Lethal Gaming as far as the first bloods are considered. And yet, no smokes being tossed. They're not using any smokes to really enter into the site. They're kind of having free reign. And it's because MuTeX really isn't rocking a whole lot. Like, you kind of see him at a delayed rate through this mid-map. Has a sniper rifle, but essentially it's been kind of like a free pass for the offensive team of WestR a lot of the time to kind of enter into this. And I think that what we're actually seeing from the guys on WestR, the reason why we're not seeing MuTeX have such a big kind of impact as BigBobbyJinx actually loses this. Blastful now. The PO8s will do the work. They do find it. And now have a round advantage, but I was kind of thinking about it, and I was like, well, probably the reason why MuTeX isn't lingering through that mid-street as much is because of the fact that he's always worried of this A push that could be made here in cabin, because a lot of times on offense, we're actually seeing the guys from WestR send 2 through Forest, send 2 kind of on that semi-flank, essentially, to kind of catch up MuTeX from the side. So he's not always aware, MuTeX is, of that middle street because he's so worried about getting shot from his back. So maybe they aren't really relying on those smokes. They're kind of maybe trying to act as far as the element of surprise, trying to not even have to use those nades. So it could be working out in their favor. Kind of trying to scare Ramby, or not Ramby, excuse me, trying to scare MuTeX essentially. But kills going down quick. Ramby able to stay alive after dropping 1. And now Blastful finding himself in an awkward spot. The PO8s from a long range, they can do stuff like that. TTinyy up top B Dom. Can Blastful get it done? Most kills in this lobby. He's got a car on his back. Now, how does he try to engage this? What angle does he try to engage on? Where does TTinyy set it? A lot of questions in this round number 6. And this is a big one to win, especially if you're on the side of WestR. And I believe TTinyy spotted the arm of Blastful. Has to be aware of those PO8s. It's not just one machine pistol. It's 2 semi-autos. And TTinyy, this is going to be a position where he's going to I have to check this. He's not challenging me. Where is he at? Where is he lingering at? He ends up dropping. Does Blastful have enough time to go for the defuse? And yes, he will. That is a very risky play from Blastful to try and hold. But I think he knows the back of TTinyy's mind that TTinyy probably is sitting kind of behind a certain area, waiting for the flank to happen. Did he just shoot those that quick? Anyway, I got distracted by that. That was a really fast trigger finger. But regardless, that's such a smart play from Blastful, because what he's realizing is that, hey, TTinyy is thinking that I'm going for the sneak defuse. Like, I'm not rushing. I'm not trying to go for something, really, really quick. And that's just mind games being brought up from Blastful. I mean, the man is obviously quadruple positive so far for a reason. And he's getting very close to streaks. Of course, 25 points off the fighter pilot. Going for the nade. That one could be good. Not able to find it, but TTinyy gets the bomb successfully down here on A, and this constant strategy and offense is working out for them on getting into cabin. MuTeX, Ramby, TTinyy. You kind of see them forcing all 3 lanes around the map, trying to find the kills necessary, and it looks like Blastful ends up dropping. TTinyy does as well. BigBobbyJinx now last alive. 1 versus 3, finds one in the cabin, and does have the position. He has time on his side, but unfortunately, the position is not going to be there. MuTeX and TTinyy will walk away with this round number 7, as they'll chalk up their 3rd one. Keeping in mind, streaks for these guys could be under play soon. But the mind game is going back and forth. Lethal getting some confidence, I think it's fair to say, in that defensive round, excuse me. You've kind of been seeing on offense the guys from WestR really fooling Lethal, making them think that they're going toward A. You've got to imagine that's really coming through the mind of Blastful. Very talented S&D player. All 6 of these guys, it's fair to say. Very talented in this game. And here for a reason. And off the break, Ramby gets the responding kill onto TTinyy. 2v2 now. Bomb is down, but not in an awkward spot by any means. And BigBobbyJinx does get dropped. Blastful is inside of you. Drops one onto MuTeX. Another 1 versus 1. This time, Blastful facing off against Ramby. Quite literally facing off against every member of Lethal Gaming. But can Lethal get the equalizer? Can they get that 4th round? Or can Blastful put his team on map point? It'd be a big momentum boost. Try and force that map 3 on Sainte-Marie. Bomb is being planted here from Ramby. You've got to be aware here from Ramby as well. Those PO8s, man, they are so, no pun intended, lethal. He's so good at a close range. We have to be aware at long range as well. Blastful gets the advantage. He knows exactly where Ramby is at. Trying to go for the shots and does find it. Takes out Ramby. I was curious if he was going to let him know or not, but just kind of running throughout cave. As he's making those semi-autos look full auto at that point. But going for the defuse is Blastful. Now up to 10 kills on a 2 spree. Feeling good. They've now found their 5th round, has WestR. And how can Lethal Gaming respond? They have to be perfect. They have to win every single round here coming up. They want to end this thing out in 2. It's going to rely off this first defense round. Stun is out. Does MuTeX try to go for an early rush? He has to be aware of all of these offensive pushes that have been made toward this side. And I like this play coming in actually from WestR. As TTinyy actually finds the first blood onto TTinyy. BigBobbyJinx is there for the quick response. And Jinx is trying to go for a challenge. He's watching his flank, playing this well, but Blastful. There's a player just toward his left inside of Fire Alley. Who's going to get it? Who can win the gunfight? MuTeX nearly able to escape. Him and Ramby on opposite sides of the map. Goes for the re-challenge, but not able to find it. A huge win there coming in from Blastful. And now Ramby left in a position to clutch. 1 versus 2. Has the at least semi-advantage of being on defense. Doesn't have to worry about getting the objective down, and thank God he doesn't. As he's just going to set up camp here inside of B. When in reality, though, the bomb is on the total opposite side of the map right now. You see it obviously forced here inside a cabin. Blastful going for the plant, and does he earn streaks off this? Only 25 points off that fighter pilot. And if they don't win this round, if he can at least get a assistance or something along those lines, it would be huge. If he can maybe try to stay alive, I mean, obviously that'd be very unlikely, but getting that would be big. Nade comes out from Ramby. How does he try to challenge this when he's already revealed his position? He doesn't have a whole lot of time. You realize he's not going to try to rush through mid-map because he doesn't have any time. Time is not on his side, and he will get picked off. So just like that, map number 2 is in the books, and WestR come out with a victory, as we will be seeing a map number 3 to close out our finals. As Sainte-Marie will be the resting place for this series. Who will close it out is the question to be asking now. But I think it's fair to say, Blastful really had his way when it came down to that last map. And I'm not sure, like, as far as the call-outs are being made, like, who's kind of in control as far as the offensive strat calls are obviously coming out. I mean, Blazt, TTinyy, BigBobbyJinx, all those guys for the WestR side are known for their S&D game. So I'm sure like they're obviously all giving out communication, all giving calls, et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, we were kind of seeing offensive mind games really being brought up from WestR there. I mean, the amount of times that we saw them go toward that A side, I mean, in 3v3s, it's different because you're going to be having the opportunity. And like, I always kind of bring this up. When you have like an off-site, whether it's on Sainte-Marie, which we're actually getting ready to head toward, or on a map like Arden Forest, where one site is more kind of heavily preferred over the other, in 4v4s, you can kind of send at least one player. Kind of have that scout player, maybe have a sniper rifle, maybe have like an FG or a bar, whatever it may be, to at least kind of learn some information. But generally in 3 versus 3s, I mean, it's such a difference when it comes down to the overall thought process of a player, because you have two teammates up. I mean, you're getting closer to that 1 mark where it becomes even like so unlikely to obviously win a gunfight. So it's a matter of those 3v2 fights. The player on the opposite side of the map isn't going to join you up too quickly, so you can't really hold on to an advantage. You can't really kind of keep things going if you don't have a teammate all kind of surrounded. So I think when it comes down to that last Arden Forest, it was just a matter of WestR playing so well on offense, making their way toward cabin countless times, and really making Lethal kind of hit themselves. Like, they were just kind of like, why are we not checking this? Like, there was at times, like I said, where MuTeX with that sniper rifle was trying to sit through mid-map, but he really couldn't, because every single time he would, there was an STG or a PPSH on his side, constantly kind of getting tagged up, or at least in a 1v1 engagement. So, what I really liked actually from the guys on WestR is that they realized that, hey, we don't have to use smokes. Like, we don't have to use any, even a gas grenade, anything like that, because we're relying off of that kind of scare factor. The fact that, hey, at any moment for MuTeX, he realizes at the first few rounds, at any moment, we could be shooting you in your side. At any moment, you could be tagged up from your back. So with that in mind, every time that MuTeX goes for the quick ADS to kind of look through his sniper rifle through middle, he's also worried that at any moment, a shot could be coming in from his side, because they have no map pressure on that cabin side. Reason being is because that's not a preferred bomb site to kind of go towards. So I really like the side. Like I said, I really like the overall mindset from WestR when it came down to their offensive pushes. I think that's the reason why they have such a big advantage when it comes down to this game. As well from map number 2, was just because they always had the surprise factor. They were constantly hitting A over and over and over again. And Lethal, I mean, they were trying to kind of counter that at times. I know toward the end of the game, we saw WestR kind of even force the way toward the B site to kind of mess things up with them. And like I said, they were kind of, messing with them. They were having some really hard times trying to catch up. And that's just, it was just a fun match to watch, just because all 6 of these guys are so talented when it comes to search and destroy. I know we do talk about Lethal Gaming. Of course, this was a team who obviously went to CWL NOLA. Of course, MuTeX, Ramby, Teddy Rex, along with Major Maniac. Of course, Major Maniac not joining them for tonight's tournament, but ended up having a very solid placement at NOLA. Ended up losing just 1 match away from making it to pool play. I think they lost to a GGEA Blue, a very respectable team in Johnny, Stamino, etc., that group. But still, they've been making strides, not just the search and destroy, but in the respawn game. But this is where all 6 players prefer to lie. They like the S&D. They like this game mode. And they're very talented at it, to say the least. But looks like off the break, BigBobbyJinx hops inside a red, and he wants to make this off as his. He said, looks nice in here. The furniture's nice. Wait, that was... What? Did all 3 players just drop at an instant? Ramby literally tags up both, and look at this nade. Both players... as if the nade is going to provide them some warmth. It will, as they'll actually get lit on fire and die. That's kind of unfortunate. But still, very solid play coming in there from Ramby. As that's Lethal Gaming, who walk away with the first round. I think at the exact same time, I guess it was BigBobbyJinx who ended up getting taken out from that mid-street area. Some interesting plays, to say the least. But looking on, entering in toward this B site, yet again, nade being a factor. You see Ramby and co, MuTeX, I believe, with the gas grenade. That's a bait for the B bomb site. And the reason why you see BigBobbyJinx challenge that and end up dropping is because he thinks the plant's going down. He thinks that because they toss out that gas grenade, is that they're immediately going for a plant. However, it's not the case. They play it well. BigBobbyJinx goes for a little bit too aggressive of a rush. He's by himself. He thinks he can get great timing, but in fact, he does not. And so a very well-executed round from the guys on Lethal Gaming without having the first blood. They don't even have the first blood in this round. And they're looking to secure it, but TTinyy trying to ruin the party. Takes out 1. Player number 6, though, Ramby. An STG of his own will drop TTinyy here in the end. As back-to-back rounds for Lethal Gaming. Success on defense, and now success on offense. It's like I talked about, I love the play with using the gas grid, because that's just simply a bait. That's trying to get the guys from WestR a little bit hungry. Like, hey, like there could be a bomb plant going down. Like you can kind of save the round for your team. But in reality, it's not. And BigBobbyJinx gets dropped for it. 0-4 start for him and Blastful off the break. TTinyy, the only guy who's found kills so far. And off this, too. Ramby, 4-0 start. He's already got a fighter pilot. He's got the glide bomb as well. As you see the gas grenade get tossed out yet again. No information found, though. So at this moment, if you're Lethal Gaming, you're saying, hey, maybe we provide something toward the A site that could definitely be over there. Play number 7, I believe, is TTinyy. He's in top red, so they have somewhat of a position. If they want to look toward the A site, they could definitely do so. TTinyy's trying to ruin that as BigBobbyJinx finds 2 with the STG and the machine pistol. It now quickly leaves Ramby all by himself. 20 points off the mortar strike. Can he at least find one? Can he secure the round? Headshot onto TTinyy. Mortar strike earned. And now 40 seconds left to play with. You know, BigBobbyJinx is thinking, what position does he come from? Does he go through top red? As the mortar strike, or excuse me, the glide bomb actually gets brought in. And thinking about it too, BigBobbyJinx has mountain. So Ramby doesn't really have a huge advantage when it comes down to most things, as he will fall. A decent effort there coming in from Ramby, but regardless, BigBobbyJinx holds the position necessary. As I believe that's a hat trick for BigBobbyJinx. Finds all 3 kills in this round. The STG and the machine pistol in the start. Dodges the glide bomb. Yeah, it also secures the round for his team. So big round coming in for BigBobbyJinx. I think in the first match that we actually saw from the guys in WestR, BigBobbyJinx had a huge performance. I think that was on USS Texas. I think he dropped like 12+ kills. At the time, this guy can have the backpack factor. I mean, he can literally put the team on his back when he needs to. And does so in that last round. But TTinyy going for the aggressive rush, gets met with some shots from MuTeX. Ramby with a nade from the skies. His Blastful will fall, yet to find a kill as Blastful. And just like that, WestR is starting to have some problems. They're not looking too solid right now, and that's really off the back of the fact that Blastful's not having a good game in. 4 rounds down, yet to find a kill. That's got to do a lot when it comes into your confidence. And it was the guy for Blastful, right? He finishes off, what was it, 12-3 on Arden Forest? Something like that. He finishes off so strong. But now he's having the issues. And of course, that does kind of come into play because he is rocking the sniper rifle for this team. You're not going to be in as many engagements. But looks like he does swap to the PPSH. Of course, going for the quick class swap. And does get dropped for it. Maybe going as a bait. Probably not intended, but still. Gets picked off. Does Ramby. 2 early kills found. How does MuTeX try to deal with this? I mean, this would be a huge round if you want to talk about the overall landscape of this series. A huge round for Lethal. Getting toward the 4th. Those who are new to Search and Destroy, it's the 1st to 6, best of 11 rounds. MuTeX trying to advance toward it. Drops 1, but good positioning coming in from WestR. To have the quick challenge, to have the quick trade. Thankfully, TTinyy was here. And I believe finishes off with 2 kills in this round. As it was Blastful who kind of sacrificed himself through bottom red. And I think that was the factor of Blastful not really being fully aware of like where the opposition has been kind of placed at. He kind of enters into a new role. As you can kind of see, he puts away the sniper rifle. He's now trying to do some work with the PPSH. And his shot may not be warmed up. And I'm not talking about overall as far as how this game is, but I mean he's been rocking the sniper rifle throughout a lot of these rounds. So WestR's kind of switched up the strategies. BigBobbyJinx and TTinyy are carrying the load right now. And where is that bomb being moved to? It looks like, based on the minimap, making its way toward A. It's MuTeX who clears out this entire site, has full reign of it, and keep in mind that top red positioning. Is there anyone here? No, TTinyy is going to be the first man to check over that site, along with Blastful from below. No man count advantage. TTinyy and MuTeX are both off by themselves. And this is a scary situation to be in. High risk, high reward. If they can get a pick, it works out well for them, but they could easily be in back-to-back 1v3 engagements. TTinyy drops and MuTeX needs to find this kill into TTinyy. Not going to happen, however, as they're going to give this bomb defuse here toward TTinyy, the closest to streaks. It's, of course, Blastful and BigBobbyJinx only at 100. And it'll be TTinyy earning quite a bit there. So it'll be at 450, of course 154 to fuse. Just like that, WestR, they're back in this one. This is our final map, ladies and gentlemen. 3 more rounds needed to become $300 minimum 3v3 Search and Destroy champions here on January 17th. What is the offensive team's objective at this current state? What's the strategy looking like? Do they make a typical rush toward B, or are they going to try some interesting strats out? It looks like BigBobbyJinx with the bomb in hand. Making a quick rush toward this A side. This is a very risky push for him. He realizes how important his life is. Doesn't try to go for the challenge. And does end up getting taken out. Props to Lethal Gaming. Great communication coming in. TTinyy is fully aware that BigBobbyJinx is rotating back through lookout post. He pays for it. And off of that kill going through, that one goes down to TTinyy. I'm not sure exactly where his positioning was, but it is nowhere near where this bomb is placed at. Nice line sight there, gained from Blastful. Quite literally lookout post living up to its name. Sees Ramby and narrowly is able to stay up. And here comes the challenge from different points of view. Blastful not able to find the shot, though. That's a huge miss. And now looking on, trying to find one onto Ramby, but not able to drop it. A few different moments where it looked good for Blastful to potentially close this one out, but not able to do the work necessary. You see Ramby, Mortar Strike, and a Fighter Pilot. They're trying to feed streaks to MuTeX as well. So a 4th round here for the guys on Lethal. It's back and forth we go. We talk about outliers as far as how this game is considered. Of course, Blastful not having the greatest game right now, 2-6. TTinyy as well, 2-5 right now for the Lethal Gaming side. But Ramby, 9-3. You see yet again the gas grenade becoming a factor. That's been in MuTex's back pocket a lot of the time. And they are going to go for a plant. Granted, they do lose a teammate. And BigBobbyJinx has been the guy kind of around this corner. We saw in the early rounds he kind of paid for it. And Ramby does not check his back lines. And you see BigBobbyJinx very fixed on the fact of finding this kill. Very, very important. Checks right. Shuts down Ramby. Now TTinyy left all by himself, but BigBobbyJinx will get his revenge when it comes down to the B-bomb site. He will grab the defuse here. Like I said, it's very, very important for those who are curious and kind of wondering why these guys are handing off the defuse, not going for it. It's because of that score. For those who are new to Search and Destroy, it's about that score. Obviously trying to feed toward your score streaks. Things like Fighter Pilots, Glide Bombs get earned through that. And it's not just kills. Like I said, it is diffusing bombs, it's planting bombs. It's based around an objective, it's based around assists. Anything you can get points from. You know, those guys fully aware of such. As like I said, BigBobbyJinx doing some work. As the sun gets tossed out, that might have been a nade that they were trying to get, was lethal. Maybe a rush that was trying to be made from TTinyy. We know how aggressive he likes to be. As far as the first bloods are considered, it's not too big of an advantage. It's 5-3 in favor of Lethal at the moment. As the streak's running from above, who is that coming from? It's actually from Ramby, and he does take out Blastful on the site. And it's kind of odd that Blastful's kind of by himself. He's not really doing a whole lot. Probably hit the sniper rifle, trying to find a pick onto a MuTeX potentially. Not exactly sure, but gets picked off. And now TTinyy and BigBobbyJinx are left in an awkward position. Granted, BigBobbyJinx does find a quite literally big kill onto Ramby. And now with 28 seconds left, I mean, they gotta choose a side. They gotta choose it quick. TTinyy, this could be his perfect streak, but no, he ends up dropping, doesn't find any kills, only hit markers. And now MuTeX, this is the perfect position for him to be in. Of course, we know that. He's not fully aware of such. And trying to split the map in two. Spots BigBobbyJinx from the flank, but BigBobbyJinx gets around the box corner. Can he stay alive? Yes, shuts him down. And TTinyy is going to have enough time for the plant. But where does he go? And MuTeX is going to be late. He's not going to be able to know exactly where his position is. Is he left? Is he right? Where could he be? Shuts down TTinyy from above. And honestly, if you're in TTiny's point of view, and obviously I'm the codcaster, I can see where a lot of the position is coming from. I think if you're in TTiny's spot, you got to know the timing. I mean, MuTeX isn't going to have enough time to kind of round that corner. I think TTinyy was just not, maybe was just assuming the fact of him not coming from top red, but that's exactly where the kill just went down at. I mean, that's exactly where you'd expect him to be at least coming from at the start, but like I said, a lot easier said to call from my point of view. Time does get dropped, and just like that, not just map point, not just series point, but tournament point. Found here for Lethal Gaming. Will we see a round 11? Or can Lethal get it done here? Mortar strike in the back of Ramby's pocket, and honestly, if they get this plant down, that is huge. Why? Because they can toss out that mortar strike to save them some time. But it's about getting Ramby out of this site. Does he want to stay here? He does. He wants to fight on it. Taking out one of the Blazt and finds the second along with some teammate support. Shuts down BigBobbyJinx, and quickly we find ourselves in a 1 versus 3. TTinyy all by himself. Tries to find one onto MuTeX. Goes for the jump snipe, but gets the hit marker. It is so unfortunate to see as he will get picked off, and just like that, it will be a victory in the books here for the guys on Lethal Gaming as they win this one in the 10th round of our third map. And now are your champions here for the $300 minimum 3v3 Search and Destroy. Of course, here on January 17th. Have to give some applause, of course, to those guys on Lethal. Teddy Rex, Ramby, MuTeX. Of course, not having, like I said, their fourth for tonight, Ramby. Or not Ramby, excuse me. But not having Major Maniac. But did it tonight. They did. Played very, very well. We see Ramby finishing off 12-5 here when it matters. Mo's going to earn those streaks. And honestly, Ramby was a big factor throughout a lot of their matches. I know, and I believe it was in their semifinal matchup versus Ice season. We were kind of talking about the factor of how the streak usage was coming in from Lethal Gaming. It was very, very good. You have to kind of hold on to those streaks. They were kind of playing off of them, kind of waited toward a later round to use those, kind of utilize those. And it was Ramby through a lot of the tournament who was kind of having that consistent bar play, playing very solid with the assault rifles. And like I said, in this last map, for the side of WestR, while it was good overall execution for the guys on Lethal, they kind of play things out very well. Picks are obviously a big factor. And in 3 versus 3, it's really just about straight up gunfights. I mean, whose gun is kind of hot, who has the overall solid positioning. And generally, I mean, for WestR, it's just Blazt just doesn't have a good game. I think it's fair to say. He finishes off 3-9. There were a lot of times where he was kind of getting picked off. I know we were seeing him with the sniper rifle at the beginning of Sainte-Marie Dumont, which is typical. I think Blazt was assuming we were going to see a fight. Or he was assuming he was going to have a fight kind of against MuTeX through a lot of this game. However, that really wasn't the case. I don't think I saw MuTeX with a sniper rifle out maybe more than once. I don't even think I saw him actually use it at all when it came down to this map number 3. So I think it was a matter of Blazt trying to find a pick through mid-street. But that's the difficult thing when it comes down to this map. It's a matter of either getting surprised with that sniper rifle. I mean, if at any moment you have one sniper rifle that's not getting met by the other, you can obviously pay for it. So I think with that in mind, Blazt was fully aware of such. Blazt has been using a sniper rifle through a lot of the prior matches. Of course, in this entire series, he was kind of rocking it throughout the first 2 maps. And obviously saw a lot of success with it. Like I said, in Blastful's game versus WestR Arden Forest here from map number 2, finishes off 12-3. And we were talking about the mind games, the offensive strategies that we were seeing coming from WestR were just fantastic. And I think it was fair to say they were really kind of catching the guys from Lethal Gaming off guard. They were doing a lot of smart strats toward the A site. They were definitely kind of making that mid-push where you didn't need a smoke, you didn't need a tactical to really kind of come into place. They were able to kind of utilize those nades very effectively, kind of find a lot of first bloods with those as well. So I think we saw some really good moments from WestR. And I know TTinyy had a pretty solid performance. BigBobbyJinx was, fairly inconsistent from time to time. But generally, I think you have to give a pretty big GGs to both of these teams for obviously making it to this point for a reason. I know WestR had a very difficult kind of tournament run up into this point, facing off against some of the more talented teams. I think it's fair to say probably the more difficult run of the two, at least based off of names on paper. We didn't obviously get to witness every single series. But regardless, though, it's a win in the books for the guys on Lethal Gaming. Congratulations to them. Of course, like I said, a GGs to the guys on WestR. But
It's time to fail. Will you?